on what you're looking for and what you're expecting, then usually you end up disappointed in choosing yourself. So
Okay.
um,
Mm-hmm.
you have to have some flexibility because you're not going to meet the perfect person. I think we've established that now after 9 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. and
Hmm.
Mrs. Perfect don't exist. So you have to try and find someone that meets most of what you're looking for. And
Right.
hopefully you are that to them as well. And then you can go forward. But if
Mm-hmm.
you come in with deal breakers and a long shopping list of and
Hmm.
inventory of items that you expect this person to have personality wise, uh, yeah, it usually doesn't work out well for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That is a very good point.
Mm-hmm.
That I think Stay Two says this is probably the worst crop of singles. Okay, I don't know about that. I don't know if I agree with that, but we'll get into it in a minute. But yeah, I don't know if I agree with that part of it. Oh, okay. Kiki is in
I think
Ohio. Thanks, Kiki. What did you say?
I,
Go ahead. What were we gonna say, Jr.?
I think it's too early to say that because we've only met half the
Yeah.
cast. We only met
Yeah.
half of them
Thank you,
at this mix, but there's
Wes.
going to
Did
be a
you hear
second
that?
mixer, you know.
Yeah, Wes, did you
Mm-hmm.
hear that? Now, come on, we
Mm-hmm.
can't be judging them this quickly. And I actually did find that there were several people that I liked. The ladies, one of the guys I thought was a little cocky, but I actually did like him, and I think he's going to be great for the younger women because he is young himself, and so he's got that young, youthful cockiness, but a good sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there,
You want
yeah,
the
there.
comedian?
No, actually, no,
No,
Will. I
LaRon.
don't know what
William is
Oh,
the
Will.
comedian, I think.
Will. Yeah, Will. I liked Will. Jr. And also I did like LaRon, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. LaRon is a. I have it in my notes. He's a
Mm-hmm.
systems.
Yeah.
He has a specific job, a systems analyst or something. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what
Yeah,
Will does. Did you catch what Will does for a living, Jr.?
yeah.
Um,
Will is a he's a former reservist in the military,
mm-hmm.
Okay.
and he's a comedian, I think,
Mm-hmm.
as well. Yeah,
Mm.
he's a reservist and a
Darika.
comedian.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Will is or William? Because that's another thing I didn't like
Uh,
about this. I
yeah,
hate when they
William.
do this. Yeah, there's Will, there's a Will, and there's a William.
Will is the real estate developer, I think.
Oh
Ah,
yes,
yeah,
real estate. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
it. Thank
Mhm.
you,
That's
Calvin. Been taking notes. Oh my
I had
goodness,
to
go
keep up with you guys. I had to. I
ahead.
get lost. I get lost. I
There
get
you
lost.
go.
I had to
That's what
take
it
my
is.
time.
You're right. It's in my notes. He's a
Yeah.
real estate developer, but the other guy,
It's the
that's
yeah.
comedian.
the
Well,
tall
that's
guy.
that's
He's
gonna
the comedian.
that's gonna be confusing though, because if one of them does something out of pocket and the
Yeah.
women go to the lounge, they may call the wrong Will
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
get the
but you
wrong one
gotta
into
that's
trouble, right?
why but JR, that to your point, that's why we have to be specific and call the Will and the William,
And
right?
they
You
make
gotta
that distinction. They make
you
that
make that
distinction.
distinction, right? Because it's like if you lived in a household with a junior and a senior, and if you were gonna not call the young man junior, then what you would say is you might call him Willie and you would call the father William.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Wow.
gotta be very specific with that. Yeah.
That's the
I don't
problem
know.
with the
I ain't,
names.
I ain't calling no man Willie. I'll tell you that. But go ahead.
You ain't gonna call nobody Big Willie.
No, absolutely
Okay,
not.
let me stop. Let me stop.
I'll leave that to y'all.
Okay, okay. All right. But you get what I'm saying though. Like if you have a son,
Yeah, I do.
yeah. Okay, okay. Yeah, I was just telling Derica that my daughter was just in Bermuda where Derica is at, and just a few weeks ago for the holidays actually. She
Mm-hmm.
spent her Christmas over in Bermuda. I was actually supposed to go to Bermuda several years ago. I won a trip, and for some odd reason, I never cashed in on that trip thing.
Mm-hmm.
Monique, okay, oh, okay, you got my. Thank you, Monique. I appreciate you putting the links in here. Appreciate that. I'm running behind on comments, so let me just go ahead and move forward. Okay, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Um, So we open up at the Fort Worth Mixer with April, who's 42.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it was just me, but somehow or another, physically, she kind of put me in the mind of favoring Carmen from back in the Potomac season, I believe it was. But anyway, April is a 42-year-old pharmacist. And then we meet LaRon. LaRon comes in. They greet each other with a hug. LaRon is only 31, so he's, a good 11 years younger than her. He's a systems operator manager. And then we meet Mika, who's 36, very pretty, esthetician. She has a few children. And DeMonte, who is a fashion stylist, and he's wearing a suit that reminds one of the ladies of the Nutcracker. What did you think of this first little group of people, Calvin?
Well, it's kind of hard. Well, you know what? The age difference doesn't have to be a difference, but it can. Because LaRon was one of the individuals that, let me see, maybe I can't take my notes because it seemed like he got put out, did he? Early. I'm just going my notes because it's something about.
Yeah, the one that gets eliminated.
Yeah, because the thing about it, maybe you can't keep up with that pace, because you're 31. Some of the women are 40 and close to 40, so they're moving at a little bit faster pace, and he didn't keep up. He didn't keep up right away. He lost ground, and he just could never recover from that. Because he wasn't paying attention to the conversations or the inaction, and they just lost interest in him right away. So he just wasn't a good fit.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. He's gonna be a fit for somebody, though. That's the thing.
Yeah,
I think
somebody, but
the
not
first
for them.
woman that he met, she just happened to be older, but he's gonna be. It's already some women seem to be vibing with Will. Yeah.
But that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Because what it is, it's moving at a faster pace, so therefore you have to jump in. Like the double dutch, you have to jump in and fit right in right away. Other than that, you get entangled, and you lose, and you have to recoup. But it's always somebody for somebody. Everybody has somebody, but the thing about it is that when you're with certain people and they're moving at a certain pace, you have to rise to the occasion. Other than that, they lose interest in you. So
that is so true. That is so true. Let's go ahead. Thank you. Let's go ahead and get JR in. What were your thoughts about that first grouping of Will and April? How do you think they kind of interacted? Did you see anything there?
At that stage, not really. It looked very civil, very comfortable. They didn't really have any. In fact, there were no issues at that point. Like everyone was pretty much calm, pleasant. At first, I thought maybe DeMonte. I thought, with his vignette talking about how he's into fashion and things.
Yes.
I thought a lot of the ladies would gravitate towards him because that seems like, a career where if you look at an esthetician or someone in the beauty field, like that would match ideally with someone in fashion, right?
Okay. Yeah. I can see the tie-in, right?
Yeah. But no, initial thoughts, it looked quite positive, quite cordial.
Well, the thing about the one you mentioned, say his name again with the fashion guy.
DeMonte.
DeMonte, because there's a DeMonte and then there's a Dominique, right? DeMonte, the issue I thought when I first saw him, it's a couple of things. And I gotta be careful.
He looked like Mr. Brown. I'm joking.
Yeah, he looked like the Nutcracker, right? The thing of it is, so he wore a suit that was. How did you like his suit? Let me ask the fellas, because I'm a woman. But how did you like his suit, JR?
Listen, I like blue, so blue suit was alright, but I didn't really pay attention to his suit, to be honest. The only time I paid attention to it was actually when he got called out for looking at the Nutcracker. Then I was like, oh yeah, I can see.
That's the issue. See, that's the issue. You weren't paying attention, but because you're a guy, and I guess you're not looking at
Yeah,
him
I ain't
in
really
that
watching his show.
way. I get it, but we women, we're sizing you men up, and part of that sizing up, in a lot of cases, is well, what did he wear? And if
Right.
a guy is going to make a fashion statement, see, here's my thing with that. If a guy's going to make a fashion statement, he's got to really be on point. Like, to me, this is my opinion.
Coordinated.
You got to be coordinated, but not only that, but listen, just to give an example, someone we can think about, Tommy is pretty much a hit every time. He's always
Right.
looking fly in his suits. He's dapper Dan, right? But now you
Okay.
got this guy who says he's in fashion and wore a suit to make a statement, but no, you missed, brother. You completely missed, right? So that's
So
just not make a good statement.
okay, so his fashion wasn't to everybody's taste.
No.
But is that a reason to put him in the bottom of possible suitors? Because we did also have a guy that turned up in Nike Air Jordans or something.
Yeah, you had a couple guys when you there's a picture that I have for the thumbnail. I noticed that a couple of the guys had the sneakers on, right?
Right. So are they going to get ready for that too? Because that's not necessarily smart dress, is it?
But it wasn't just the attire. They didn't like
his
personality. Calvin? I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, no, go ahead. No, what were you saying, Calvin?
I'm saying it wasn't just his attire. They didn't like his personality.
Thank you.
And the way
that's the part where I'm
so focused on himself.
Mm-hmm.
Not just his attire, but he was so self-absorbed. And
he was
the fear of being vain. But by their definition, they didn't like him because he seemed to be more into himself and not really in tune with the women.
Not asking them questions. He was all about me.
Oh yeah, he definitely was. But I mean, for me, I saw that more later though, as more guests started to arrive and things like that. But that initial interaction, I didn't, I didn't see that. It was only when more people, when he started to talk to more people, and you realize he was talking about himself more than being interested in
anybody else. At least that's what we saw. That's what was edited in, is that everything was, well, I'm into fashion. I'm a fashion stylist. So, obviously somebody probably asked him what he did. Okay, that part is fine. But then, he goes into, and I'm listening to him because I was in the fashion world, and he says he's done a lot of fashion shows. And then he says like 7 fashion shows. That's not a lot.
9. He must be new into that career.
Yeah,
right?
but you're giving this as your career or your job again. So then now what's the next thing I'm going to think? If I ask you what you do and you told me you've only done 7 fashion shows, now I'm thinking that you're a newbie in your career or your job, which if I'm a woman that's looking for a stable relationship and a partner to get serious with, you would definitely not be the one.
Right. Okay. And would you then want to know what he did prior?
Yes, I would. I would ask more questions. I would want to know what he did prior, because maybe he had a career that's intertwined with fashion, like you said about the esthetician. Maybe he did something related to that, so that would make more sense, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. Because he could have had a previous career that was like 10, 15 years, but decided to make a career change or something like that.
I didn't want to say it. Stay tuned said it, but I was watching when he first hit the camera. I was like, okay, I'm biting my tongue. I don't know how to say this. Okay, I didn't say this, but notice a guy said this. So what do we have on the screen? Stay Tuned Reviews, who is a honorable and esteemed podcaster and YouTuber, says one of the issues was he had some feminine tendencies, and that's exactly right, Wes. You and I don't always agree, but on this one, that was the first thing I observed. I'm not feeling men. When a man comes into my space and I feel a lot of feminine energy, that's an automatic turn off for me. Forget about the sneakers. Forget about the suit that I don't like. If you're gonna have feminine energy in the space with me and I'm meeting you, I'm probably not going to be very interested in getting to know you.
Yeah. Okay. So in the fashion industry, I'm quite sure there are a lot of feminine qualities in a lot of the men that are in it.
Yes.
So that's pretty standard for that industry, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, what feminine qualities did you see from him?
I can't even, and that's a good question.
Was this his mannerism? I mean,
that's a good. Wait, hold on, Calvin. That's a great question to both you men. That's a great question. I've gotten kind of numb to this at this point. I'm gonna tell you, be honest, unless there's something that really stands out. I've gotten kind of numb to this because, to me, every season on every show, whether it's MAFS, whether it's Ready to Love, every season they're going to be, generally speaking, one or two guys that just stand out as having feminine qualities or mannerisms, and I've gotten kind of numb to it. And as your point, having worked in the fashion industry, you're correct. There are quite a few men that have feminine tendencies, but most of them are generally gay. Most of them, again, is not somebody that, other than a friendship, not saying I wouldn't be friends with someone who's gay or bisexual, but it's not going to be somebody that I'm ever going to invite into my personal space as a potential mate, because again, I'm already turned off by that.
Okay, I have a question for you, Aubrey.
Yes.
Right. So you have this dude. If you could choose who to get to know better, go on a date with, would it be this dude, or would it be Fabrice? Both fashion professionals, two completely different personalities. Which would you gravitate towards for a date?
Neither.
Neither? You choose yourself.
I'm going to have to choose myself. I'm going to be Sabrina on the bridge, and I'm going to choose myself, because you've got Fabrice over here who is overbearing with his sexuality and his sexual innuendo. A total turnoff, a total turnoff for a whole nother reason, right? I mean, like, he's a hound dog. I don't like hound dogs. I guess, so what are you trying to get at, JR? What are you trying to say?
Well, I'm giving you two completely different personalities in the same profession, and just wondering which you would gravitate towards. You got Pepe Le Pew, who's Fabrice, and then you got I don't even know who I could use for, but
you said Fabrice,
yeah, like so. Feminine guy versus someone who leads with an overtly I won't say Neanderthal, but a very
overbearing.
Very forward, yes, very deliberate in his sexual
domineering.
Yeah, and he's definitely going to make it known that he likes the feminine qualities. He likes the sexual and sensual elements that a woman can bring. That's what he's looking for. So would you prefer the guy that's in the closet or the guy that's out in the open saying, this is what I want, you look fine, let's do this?
You know what? Okay, if we gotta put, if my life was dependent on it, I had to go out with one or the other.
I would. One of them gonna save your life.
I would take Fabrice. Because as a woman, as a grown woman, and even as when I was a much younger woman, I've always known how to handle guys that are creepy. So we might not be on a date very long, because if he got out of hand, or if he even put his hands on my body, my person, he would get a very assertive response back. But if he's just talking, and me, because I've handled a lot of guys that thought that I was pretty or cute or whatever the thing was, I could probably sit and have a conversation with him, because I would move him past, I would redirect the conversation into other areas, maybe fashion. That would be a good common interest that we both had. And as long as he's talking to me intelligently, I don't have a problem with him. Right. But the moment he gets out of hand and starts to touching, we got a problem.
Yeah. So I think I can imagine that every woman would want to feel desired by the person that's sitting in front of them, right? In this situation, Fabrice is definitely going to be showing you that, telling you that. Whereas this Demonte guy is going to be talking about himself and not really into you because he's so far into himself.
Yeah.
So it depends, how far you want to go. Again, you're not going to meet Mr. Perfect.
So no, wait a minute. Darika also has a comment to your question, so to speak. Darika is saying, personally, she's not into men that are more into fashion than I am. And exactly, Darika, that's exactly why, other than one guy who I know that was in fashion at the same time I was, we're still friends. Other than him, two guys, one photographer. I've never really dated anybody in fashion. When I was in fashion, I wouldn't have dated them because the ones that weren't bi or gay were hound dogs, and I don't like hound dogs. That's just me. I don't like hound dogs. So like, you're not going to get anywhere with me by being overly assertive, aggressive. I like a guy that carries himself like a gentleman. I'm just old school like that. I'm sorry. Excuse my voice. But I want to hear something. We gone a little ways, and I want to go back because Darika brings up a point, and they had a whole conversation going on here. So maybe we can get into this. Guys, Calvin, what do you feel? JR, what do you feel about this new format with people meeting in smaller groups? Because we find out next week we're going to meet the second group. Calvin, how do you feel about this format compared to the last season?
Well, let's see. It was 5 and 4. Was it an even number?
It was
5 and 4.
What was it? JR, was it six guys and 5 women or 4 women?
It would have been 6 guys if what's the name of the one of them stayed in the car, right?
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. So what did you think of it, Calvin? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Or did you like it more or less or the same?
Again, it's like you moved at a fast pace, and like someone said, don't be so presumptuous about people. Give them a chance. So you may dismiss people that maybe you should have paid more attention to, or get yourself, be objective, because you're looking for love. You can't be so quick to have your list and then be so quick to dismiss a person because they're going to meet up to things based on what you anticipate without really getting to know them well, because it's hard to, if you're looking for something of substance, you have to take your time and be discerning, because you can move quickly based upon, this is something I don't like about you, so get out of here, maybe that was just a bad day, a bad moment for that person,
Right. Okay, so you seem to be about the same on this episode. You're about the same on this new format. Is that what I'm getting, Calvin?
Be fair, because that's all. I don't know. It's just hard to make a decision like that based upon a person altogether, because just give them a chance. You may see something that's subtle but pronounced along the way,
Yes. Okay. And thank you for that, Calvin. JR, what about you? Did you like the new format better?
It adds an element of intrigue, mystery, because you don't know who the next batch are going to be, and it gives the first group some time to get to know each other first, before obviously the second group come in, and who have less time to get to know that group, because now they'll have to probably get to know each other in that group and then have the mixer where everybody gets together. So interesting format. I don't think anybody should have been sent home at the moment, though. I think the first one should be, have a mixer for the first group, second group have a mixer, then a combined mixer, then you start eliminating people. That would make sense, because now you send people home that haven't been given the opportunity.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. That was a thing I thought too. And then because, hey, listen to this, JR, because one guy, like you said, didn't even make it out the car. So why are we why are we sending people home so quickly? But we said this about every season. They're sending people home so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, what is Stay Tuned has a comment on this format too, and then we'll move on. The new format would be perfect if it was for eliminations, because there were same thing you're saying, JR, basically, right? So you guys agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You
It's
guys
like the format they have when they in a setting, and then you sit, they have it set up where it's like musical chairs, kind of like where they sit down, they talk to a person, then they rotate to different people. So I don't know. Give it a chance. Give it a chance to really work.
Yeah, you're right. We definitely I'm getting the sense from the men without saying it, but without saying it. You guys are saying that we women maybe jump to conclusions too quickly. But see, I think the thing the men also have to keep in consideration, though, is while women may jump to conclusions, maybe, and I don't know if it's even more quickly now I think about it, because I don't know if that's true or not. Because men jump to conclusions. Men know exactly which woman they want to talk to, which woman they want to sleep with, and which woman they might be considering for something more serious. So there's the thing too. We just are more verbal about it, guys. So don't pick on us. Don't pick on us. But
It
what I
could
was
go both ways. Like
it could
right.
go both ways. And then, but what I was going to say, Calvin, this is a true thing, though, isn't it? Women have a time clock in life, and I think unless a woman is determined that she doesn't want to have children, if she's in her 20s, she's in her 30s, let's say maybe she's even 39, 40, she owes it to herself, to her eggs, her good usable eggs, to be discerning about the men that she goes out with, about the men that she chooses to have a relationship with, because men don't really have that clock per se. They can have children. One of my good friends had his first and only child he was 50. Obviously the woman was not. She could have been, but she wasn't. She was much younger, right?
But another thing, it works both ways. When you're on the dating scene for an extended period of time, from, I would say, from 20 to 35 or 40, and you have not had that kind of relationship that you needed, what have you become in the process? That's what I'm saying. Are you still objective, or are you as an individual? Have you diminished in terms of seeing people worthy of marriage? I mean, can your perspective diminish over time because you've been dating for so long and you have not had the relationship that you need? So your expectation may diminish because you've been exposed to the part of relationship that has not, produced that desire. I mean, you had different people over a extended period of time. So are you really into love? Or are you just really into yourself? Because it didn't pan out.
Okay, wait a minute, hold on. I want JR, tell me, what do you think about that comment? That Calvin brings up a very good point. If you've been in the dating marketplace for 10, 15 years, let's say you started at 20, 19, let's say 19, you started dating. Now you're
35, 40.
Yeah, 35,
like
40.
These people.
Okay, hold on, Calvin. Let me do this. Let me handle this.
Okay, sorry. Please forgive me.
No problem. But so you've been in the dating place for 15 to 20 years, JR. What do you think is the effect now on the style of dating that you now have as a 35, 40-year-old? What do you think what happens? Do you get pickier?
I think that depends on how much you've actually dated in that time. Because again, if you haven't been dating recently, as we've seen, social media has changed the way people view each other as dating, especially. So if you haven't been dating in the last maybe 5 years or so consistently, what you were used to before isn't necessarily what's happening now. And that also may create a false idea of what's actually available, because you may have
wait, stop. So
yeah.
I hate to interrupt you, but stop right there, because that's what you just said. That's a very valid point. Could you explore that? How is it things aren't really what they seem? What is it that you're saying with that? You think it's one way, but it's actually another?
Yeah, like basically, if you've say for example, you had an idea of what you were looking for, um, based on your previous relationship, which finished maybe 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when you go out into the dating market now, things are a lot different. There's a lot more hostility, but there's also a lot more verbalizing of standards. Standards may have changed. Dating markets changed. Who's available, all changed. So
Wow, good
if you don't know how
point.
to communicate with the opposite sex in these day and age, in
Yeah.
these streets, then you may be talking to them based on how you would interact 5 years ago. I'll give you an example. Like as a guy,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
um, back in, let's say mid to let's say mid 2000s, a guy would approach you, "Hey, baby, let me get your number," or "You looking good today," or whatever else
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna say. Right?
Right.
Nowadays, guys are not coming up to you that forward, right? At all. In fact, guys are
Okay.
hardly making the move
Right.
like that. For a
Ooh.
variety of reasons, probably. But the culture's changed, so guys are not as forward. So women feel that they have to do more to get a guy's attention, and
Okay. I'm hearing that.
you know, guys, in our perspective, obviously, the emphasis is more on what can we provide. In terms of our careers and all of that stuff, is probably more emphasized now than it was maybe 5, 10 years ago. Before, you can just work somewhere, work in a shoe shop, or have aspiration to do something but haven't necessarily done it yet. Now the pressure is on for you to be accomplished and established in whatever it is you do before you're eligible for a lot of
Ooh.
women.
Mm-hmm.
The mechanic
Women.
was okay 5 years ago. The mechanic's not okay now. Bus driver, the blue collar worker was okay 5, 10 years ago.
Ah.
It's not that way now.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone wants high
Oh.
powered, high success,
Mm-hmm.
6 figures.
Mm-hmm.
Some people want trappers, some people want executives,
Mm-hmm.
but at the end of the day, the emphasis is on how much you're earning and what you're doing, and that determines your relevancy as a man. Whereas before, it wasn't necessarily that. It was how you approached the lady and how you made her feel.
Mm. That's excellent. That's a
Mm-hmm.
very excellent, and while you were speaking and talking, some of the ladies were working it out too, because Darika says it's also because to what you I believe she was responding to what you were saying, JR, about men not approaching women so much anymore. She says she feels it's because men have easy access to a lot more women due to social media. And I'm going to add, Darika, I'm going to add one more. This is my thought, and this is just my opinion. A lot more men are addicted or have a favorite to pornography. And so they're looking at women for different things. They're looking on Instagram. They're looking at women, and every man thinks they want an Instagram model. Just like you, to your point, Jay, I agree with you. A lot of women are saying they want the more executive white collar type, while a lot of the men are saying they want the girl with the big bottom, the BBL, right? So
Um,
it's a little kind of ridiculous and skewed, in my opinion, either way, that
mm,
everybody's going to end up with this doctor, lawyer, every woman and every man is going to end up with the Instagram model. I don't think that's really going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
no, I think what we have to do is, like kind of said it earlier, like men view when men are selecting the ladies they want to date, they do it more. They don't verbalize it as much, but we do categorize or pigeonhole, um, based on what we see. Right, we can
Mm-hmm.
definitely distinguish between who is fun times and good times only, and who is
Mm-hmm.
relationship material. Right, and we can do that very quickly and very easily.
And so,
Um,
wait a minute. So now
whereas,
I gotta ask you a
yeah,
question. How do you determine this? How are you men determining this when you just
well,
see a woman
exactly as you
across the
said,
room?
nowadays, for women, social media is a way to market yourself. So just like you mentioned porn, we have a lot of women who are doing soft porn on their Instagram pages, on
Mm-hmm.
social media. So
Mm-hmm.
the
And
porn
thirst
that
trapping.
exactly, and first trapping and all that stuff. So immediately when guys see that, we already know that she obviously gets a level of attention.
Mm-hmm.
She obviously may have some need for validation from social media or external factors. That could be because she's not happy. She doesn't get the validation in her immediate circle or within herself. So she gets it externally. And we've seen that social media has driven that change, um, in the last maybe 4 or 5 years, right? Um,
Yes.
because the likes and clicks give validation to some ladies. So the thing is, as a guy, you can see a girl who's got maybe 100,000 followers, always wearing short skirts, bikinis, booty out, tatas out, all of that stuff. But we
Not
immediately
the
know that
not the
that's not wife
yams.
material.
Not the yams, JR.
Yeah, the yams. Yeah, we're not dating that girl for relationship, long term, anything like that. That's good time, short term, fun connection, right?
Right.
Um, whereas if we do meet a lady that actually makes us feel special or makes us feel like a man, um, allows us to enter her life and do the things that we are accustomed to doing as men, then we are definitely wifing that lady over the Instagram girl. So it depends. Now you also have ladies who are more career driven, etc. So because they are out, they're trying to outboss men for the most part. Can they also make us feel like men when we are dating them? Or are we having this tug of war over who's got the most masculine energy and all this other stuff?
Ooh, not
So
tug of war.
yeah, so that's basically what's happening, in my opinion, in the
Mm-hmm.
dating market. You've got so many things that are changing, both on the male and female side. So yeah,
Yeah.
like in the male side, yes, you may say we're influenced by porn and all these different things. That's been happening forever, though. Since the 70s, porn has been out there, right?
Well, wait a
Um,
minute.
but but I
Hold
also
on,
think,
hold on.
but
Porn.
I
Okay, yeah. Porn
yeah,
is
I,
much more available, though. It's much
The
more
of
available.
accessibility
course,
factor.
and but that's the thing. Now we don't have to watch porn. We don't have to look at the magazines and the videos. Now you just turn on your social media and we're seeing soft porn. We're seeing nipples. We're seeing
Mm-hmm.
booty cheeks. We're seeing all these different things, and it's not men that are doing that. That's women that are
The
doing that because
the
they have
yams.
also become accustomed to porn in their life too. They know that sex sells. They know that if they can use their body to get attention or make a few
Well,
dollars, then they're gonna do it. That's what OnlyFans is about.
right.
Yeah. So
But hold on. Now you bring up OnlyFans. But hold on. We had a whole season, not just like 2 seasons, season before last, where we had a whole guy who was a stripper. That's I call him Magic Mike, if you recall Magic Mike, right?
yeah. Hmm.
um you got men on social media, because I gotta address the fact that you're talking about the women thirst trapping, which I said too. Yeah, they are. But you got a whole barrage of men on social media that are also thirst trappers. They got every other picture with their shirt off. They're in a little skimpy, I guess you don't call it a bikini, you call it a brief if it's a man, right? You call it a
Hmm.
brief. They got their swimming briefs on, not the trunks, but the brief, where it's almost like a, you know what a brief is. And
Right.
they're doing the same thing. They're doing suggestive poses. I know this one guy that's from here in Detroit and has quite a large following. Apparently he's a professional masseur, right? He massages women and people, but comes on social media and he does a whole video reel of him massaging, and oh my god, like you said, soft porn. So
That's not massaging. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
He's actually
he calls it massaging and he says he's certified. I've chatted with the gentleman.
happy endings. Every single client is
Oh
not
no, he's
professional.
not.
Yeah.
No. Now he's not
Yes.
showing that on his reels. That's not what
No,
he's
he's
showing.
not. But you can see that the way he's touching and
You read
blowing into
between the
these women's
lines.
genitals and the way he's going about doing everything, it's a lot. Listen, you can't be a professional and
Okay.
doing that. Yeah. He's doing that
No,
for
I
clickbait.
wouldn't want that because I
He's
do
trying to
like my.
first trap, trying to
Go
first
ahead.
trap women into becoming more clients. So women who are single or alone see the way that he's blowing all over the booty cheeks and all the other erogenous zones, and they're like, "Oh, I want some of that. Do you come to Atlanta? Do you come to Florida? Can you? I need to see you." You know, they're gonna first trap that guy, and he's gonna get lots of money because there are lots of women who aren't successful in dating. They're single right now, so when they see someone who's gonna cater to their body like that, give them that one-to-one attention that he's gonna give them, they're all over that. All over that. You know, they don't have time. A lot of them career women doing things, working 60 hours a week, don't have time for a relationship. They see this guy caressing your body and all types of freaky stuff. Boom. Okay, let me hire him for an hour, and then he can go about his business. I'll go back to work. Right. But so I know that that does happen. The difference is though, with a Magic Mike, guess what? He's still going to be the one pursuing in the relationship because he's the man. The women who are first trapping, they're not expected to pursue the guy like that they're interested in. Guys make the determination whether they're attracted to you enough to try and pursue you and court you and date you. That's what traditionally happens. If a woman decides to pursue a guy, it's very frowned upon by other women. They call her pick me and all these other different things. And, you know, it's something that is frowned upon. It's not supposed to be done. It's not the natural order of things. So, yeah, you can have first traps on both sides. But ultimately, what it comes down to is the man is still expected to do the pursuing, the chasing, the protecting and providing, not the woman.
Well,
but it's double standards. But then that's what I was saying is that we in a climate now where
they are. You might want to mute your mic.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Calvin.
We live in a climate now where we are getting diminished returns because of the things that we are accustomed to may not be as advantageous as they need to be. So if you're out here doing what you want to do and everything is your own terms, or people are just being so lax about things, then over time, what does that do to your perspective on how you look at relationships, especially if you've not been privy to the kind of relationship you need or desire, and you're aging, you're getting older, and then when you look at people now, you're looking at them maybe in I won't say a tainted lens, but you're looking at them and be more conscientious about what kind of life have they had prior to meeting you, you know, and the experiences that you bring into the equation. Because I thought if you're done what you want to do and you're 40 years old and you want somebody fresh and new and different, are you really that person? I mean, the person you change over time because of the person become through the process of being lax and casual and convenient with different people, you know. How can it not affect you? How can it not affect you because you've been exposed to so many different people with different perspectives and everything has been okay, you know, with how you have access to people, you know?
That's true. That's
true. Do you maintain your objectivity or does it diminish?
Or does it diminish? Well, we see, thank you for that, Calvin. We see Tommy enter the mixer, and he says, "Welcome to Funky Fort Worth. This is where the West begins and also love." I said we shall see. We'll see. We'll see if this is really where love begins. But he tells us that the rest of the 18 members will be the rest of the 18 member cast will be at another mixer, and then they'll all be together finally for the brunch. We see Glenn 41, a teacher. That's the one who's missing, and ultimately we find out that he isn't going to attend. Why do you think Glenn got cold feet? Briefly, Calvin. Just we're not going to spend too much time on it, but just briefly, if you thought about it, why do you think that Glenn got cold feet?
It wasn't clear why he had cold feet. He just never showed up. I don't know if there was something that they just interjected into it for the suspense factor or not, but it's not clear why he didn't show up. You know, it's just that he kept not responding, you know. So
that's true. Thank you for that. And JR, what are your thoughts? Why do you suspect that Glenn, or do you have any thoughts on it at all? Why did Glenn get cold feet?
It looked like stage fright to me. It looked like The idea may have seemed a good idea at the time of applying, but when it came down to actually being in front of the cameras, meeting all the people, probably being under scrutiny in the way he's going to date and approach ladies and stuff. Yeah, he got extremely nervous, and I kind of think that it must be a tough process to go through, but ultimately you should do your research before going on the show. There's like 8 previous seasons at least to watch and kind of realize what you're getting yourself into.
I think a lot of the people that go on this show, even now with, like you said, all the 8 seasons in front of them, I think what they maybe do is pick a season and watch a couple of episodes, and they don't really get the general idea. Because if you were to watch one season from the beginning to the end, you'd have a better idea. You can't just watch a couple of episodes and say, "Oh, that's what it is." That's not what it is. You got to get to the end of it to really discover what it is. And then here's another thing: if you were to watch, let's say, the first 4 seasons, are much different than the last 4 seasons, right?
Exactly. And you know what I would say? I would suggest not even watching the season, watch the reunions as well.
Ooh, yeah, that tells the story now, doesn't it, JR?
Exactly. Watch the reunions to see, because they may be edited or things that production have done to create narratives and stuff. And you need to be aware of that going in, so you're not completely thrown under the bus or bamboozled by the way you're going to be portrayed. So watch a couple seasons, but definitely watch the reunions.
Right.
But it seems like they're trying to convey something. I mean, like you just said, production may be doing something that's at this point to create the atmosphere for ratings, as opposed to substance. Because okay, he didn't show up. Now they move around, getting rid of people quicker, and the next episode they're gonna be catfighting. So I don't know. It could be a ratings ploy,
It could be.
Based upon just the way it's going, it could be a ratings ploy. They got him not showing up, but is that something to keep in suspense or what? Or then you have people being kicked out right away. Then anticipating the next scene, they're gonna be catfighting. So we'll see.
We're gonna see. And on that note, what we see is the stylist DeMonte. He's sitting talking to, what is it? Am I saying her name? Is it Koshia? Koshia is her name?
I think.
Okay, so the stylist DeMonte is sitting, talking to Koshia, talking about how each of his 35, count them, 35 tattoos are significant for various reasons. But when she asked him to tell her about the tattoo that's on his hand, he struggles. Like he can't really tell her what that tattoo is all about. So you basically almost see her rolling her eyes, because you just said, man, that these tattoos, they're a reason. It's a serious reason. Like maybe it was the loss of a loved one or something. But now you can't even tell her what the tattoo on your hand is about. What did you make of that, Calvin?
Well, I mean, you voided out what you said. You negated it, because if it means something significant, you can't explain or express the significance of it. Then what's the point of initiating the conversation? You negated it, and you said something and voided out right away. That's what they didn't like about him. He doesn't. He comes across one way, but he's not that person.
Oh, thank you, Wes. Koshia, it's French. Okay. All right. JR, what were your thoughts about that scene, that contradiction that was really obvious? What did you think about that with Koshia?
That to me was like a Rick James moment. Chappelle Show, when he does the Rick James skit, and Rick James says, "Man, like I ain't got nothing better to do than to grind myself on someone else's couch." Yeah, I remember grinding myself on Eddie Murphy's couch. I don't know if you remember that, but that's what that kind of was giving. It's like it's like one second you say, yeah, like these tattoos are meaningful, and there's real significance to them. Okay, so what does this tattoo mean? I can't remember what this one's about. You know, so for me, it just exposed that he was waffling the whole time. He probably doesn't have 35
Exactly.
tattoos, and they probably have no significance whatsoever, because
Mm-mm.
usually the tattoos that are going to be visible are the ones
Mm-hmm.
that people are going to ask you about, right? Because
That's
it's the ones that
right.
are on display. So if you haven't
Right.
even mentally prepped an answer, you know, or you know, it's probably not even a date or something significant. It's probably just some, you know, random
Yeah.
pattern that you got, and you just couldn't explain why you got it.
You know what? I don't know about why people get tattoos, or what, if there's really like, I know I've seen in the past. It used to be a time when, to his point, where people that got tattoos, the ones that I knew it or talked to at least anyway, there was something significant. They had lost a loved one, or they had a child, or their wife had a child, or their girlfriend, or whatever. And so they had these moments that they wanted to memorialize on their body. But I think, do people just get tattoos just because they look good? I think that's
Yeah,
maybe a lot of tattooing.
yeah. There are a section of people who get tattoos based on a pattern that they like,
Mm-hmm.
or a unique design, not necessarily any significant date or person, but you know, they might
Right.
just like a tribal print, for example, and just say, you know what, I want to get that.
Yeah, it looks good. I think that looks
But if
good. Maybe
that's
it'll
the
look good
case, then
on
why
me.
don't you just say that? Why don't you say, well, I like the design? Exactly. I thought it would look good on me. That's why I got it. That's the significance. You know, it doesn't
But
have to be
they,
Mm.
this life changing. Oh well, you know, I had a really traumatic time 7 years ago, and on that date, I decided to tattoo. You know, that to signify that particular occasion that happened, or that event. It doesn't have to be anything long and thought out and drawn out like that. But the way he
Right.
tried to portray it, it was as if all 35 tattoos have some meaning. And then when he's asked for the
Yes.
very first time, what
Mhm.
does that tattoo mean? He absolutely had nothing to say. So
He had nothing.
that was
He had
very,
But
completely blank.
yeah,
the
he's a BS
recurring thing,
man.
the recurring thing with him, he seems vain and
Mhm.
selfish because that's what they keep saying about him. You just think
Self-absorbed.
yourself,
Yeah.
and you
Yes.
don't think about nobody else but you. And then when it came time for him to express how he felt about the different women, some important point about them, he couldn't say nothing. So
Mhm.
every time I've been on the show, but he's just been focused on me, my. Nobody else matters but him.
Right.
So the
That's
so the
true.
tattoos is mostly something he did just to draw attention to him. But to say that it has some deeply embedded meaning to them, it's just a vanity issue. You know what?
A vanity thing. And listen, guys, so we got Koshia. That was Koshia saying that. Koshia
Yeah.
is 35. She's
Mm-hmm.
divorced, we find out, with
Mm-hmm.
two kids.
Yeah.
Um, I think I got this wrong. Mika
Yeah.
tells Dominique,
Mm-hmm.
the guy, that she doesn't want any more children when he asks her about children. I think Mika is the one that has. Does she have three girls? And so I'm thinking to myself, here we go again. Once again, we've got a cast. Some of the women have children, some of the men have children. The ones that the men are attracted to and want to have, maybe have children with, she's already got three, so she says she's not having any more. So we're going to go through that again. Alexis tells Will that she has an autoimmune disorder and that she's a vegan, so she eats very cleanly. We got LaRon over here saying that he just moved to Texas. By the way, LaRon, I have to tell you right off the bat, be transparent with you. LaRon is someone who has caught my eye, and I like him. He gives me a warm, fuzzy feeling inside. Oh, we got a guest. Hey, Ron.
Hey,
What's going on? What's shaking there?
nothing much.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good to have you in. We were just talking about LaRon. What do you think about LaRon? Young LaRon. He's only 31.
Yeah, it was a couple of guys that was 31, and like
Mm-hmm.
I said, it's that age thing again. It's like who you pair them with,
Mhm.
realistically.
Mm-hmm.
I say gearing more towards Alexis because she's the closest thing to his age. But
Yeah. Yeah. Alexis. And wait a minute. What about? Well, okay, you're right, because other women are about 35, but you don't think that the 35-year-old might be interested? 35-year-old women might be interested in him also.
Nah, some of the 35-year-old women had kids already. I mean, he seemed like he just came back from the club. Like he was like, he gonna need some couple of years.
I'm so wait a minute, Ron. I'm sorry to interrupt you. It's so funny you popped in as we were talking about LaRon, because I wanted to say this as a note. LaRon reminds me of a baby Ron. Okay, that's who he reminds me of. He reminds me of you.
I mean, I was a little further down the line though, but I said, I mean, he gonna do well, like talking to the ladies, because he out every weekend talking to the ladies anyway. He got more experience in floor game than a lot of these other guys that have been probably sitting around. In the older age stuff like that. He out every week. His game is fresh. He can smooth talk with the best of them out here with the group that they picked. So he'll be around, but I just don't see a realistic connection to what he's looking for, because he's at the stage where he's looking for the finest thing he can get, and they're just not of age for, I think of what he needs. He needs a girl probably younger.
But he seems to have an established. Here's the thing. I can't recall right now. I got it in my notes. I have to slide down. It seems to have an established position, though. Unlike some of the guys who are comedians and only done 7 fashion shows, he seems. No,
I get the fact that he's established. I 100% believe that. But he got to use that, because he looks about 5'9" and it's 5'10". A little, you know what I mean? So you got to use his establishment in order to bring it in with the package, and you use that on younger women, not older. So, you find your little 27, 28-year-old girl who ain't that established, and you go, hey, I'm 31, got my stuff together, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It might be a little better look, because he likes looks. You could tell that stuff. He likes, you know what I mean? Like, he wants a fine thing on his arm. She might be a little finer than where he is, and he uses the established career to kind of boost that up in order for it to make sense, and then grab his girl. But you can't use that trait with older women that are already established. It's kind of hard to do. Like,
right. Okay. So he's kind of in a rock and a hard place. What you saying?
Yeah, he's in a rock and a hard place. It ain't his fault. I mean, he keeps doing both seasons of Dallas did a bad job on these ages and stuff. And then they keep getting rid of the 40-year-old 2 and up guys. One don't show up, the other one they get rid of. You know what I mean? You can't. You need them men.
Yeah, the 2 older men. But wait a minute.
Yeah.
He agreed with you. What were you saying, JR?
Yeah, like the thing is, that's if he was to date younger, then obviously the hypergamy comes into play, right? Because a lot of women are hypergamous. So a younger lady would view probably someone with his career as a catch, and he's also going to be a couple of years older. The problem with LaRon is it's not just weekends that he's in the club. He said he's in the club like 5 days of the week. He said from Wednesday through to Sunday. Yeah, something like that. So that's pretty much his office when he's not working.
So you can't put a woman with a kid, 2 kids, a kid on a guy who's enjoying that level of freedom. Because that's what he's going to care about the most, is that freedom.
Right.
And it's going to take a while for him to get out of that habit.
5 days a week?
No, I go on the club sometimes on the weekend and stuff. But I mean, I know I've had established relationships. I'm in an established relationship now. You know what I mean? I'm in a club right now. I mean, my girl down on the stage. You know what I mean? So like, you know what I mean? It's like I know how to have an established relationship that I gotta be the leader and lead them into, where they're supposed to be at in the relationship. So it's experience too, but 31, you don't have that type of experience yet. Even if you are a slow beginner to get there and stuff, like, I might have been or was, or but the fact of the matter is, in my low 40s now, I have more experience. I can fluctuate more. I have more. You can't turn it off. Impossible. 31 he's where he's probably supposed to be at anyway, to tell you the truth. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the way the dating is going and the way these women are waiting until they 41 talking about I want to start something serious and stuff, he's right where he's supposed to be.
Wow. Is that what women are doing now? Waiting until they're 41 to start something?
You saw that lady when she came on there, she was like, I was starting my career at the pharmacist and now I'm just turned 41 and now it's time to get it popping. I'm like, time? And that guy came up to her and asked her about the kids. He was like, I want to have 2 to 10. She was looking at him like, I'm about to be 42, boy. We can't have one.
And did you hear what she said to him? She said, "You know what?" He said when he asked her, "Was she interested in children?" She said, "I'm open to it." And I'm gonna tell you something, you fellas out there, listen to your auntie Aubrey. When a woman says she's open to having kids, no, she not. She pulling your leg, okay? Because if a woman doesn't automatically say yes, I want to have children when I'm married or whatever, something to that effect. No, she's saying open because she's trying to keep her options open with you, but she don't want no kids.
No, she don't. It happened when I was on the show dating Chrysanthemum. She gave me the same answer, and I knew what that meant. And like it had to be like the most perfect scenario in the world in order for her to be there. And then it doesn't give you confidence that this person's gonna be wanting to be a mother, not go to postpartum and all the stuff that comes with that of not really, wanting that as being the first priority in your life. So
exactly, because I guess also you have to take into account that it's a scary time for women when they get older towards that 40 age, right, where they haven't had kids, and if it's something that they're thinking about doing, it could be a very daunting process. And also life-changing, like, they've grown so accustomed to doing things the way that they've been doing them so far, introducing a whole child that's going to be dependent on them for everything, plus a partner who they're going to have to rely on for protection, provision, financial, all of that type of support as well. Plus the relationship as well. Like, it can be overwhelming for a lot of women in that situation, I can imagine. But yeah, I don't think that guy was serious about 2 to 10, because the financial implications of having 10 children is just going to be insane. And I'm not sure if he's a mega multi-millionaire or anything like that. But, kids need maintenance, support, love, all those different things. And having 10, like, you're not Nick Cannon. You ain't got Nick Cannon money. You ain't got Future money. So, I don't know where you're going with 10. To me, that's what scared her when he said he wants 10. Like, if he just said, he wants 1 or 2, then I think she probably would have said the same thing, but wouldn't have been as fearful
but
about it.
He asked her, the first thing he asked her, before he said anything about the number, he asked her, did she want to have children? She said she was, quote unquote, with parentheses around it, open. And I'm here to tell you, like Ron just told you too, I'm here as a woman to tell you that I've had very good friends of mine who were marriage minded and family minded and wanted to have children within the bonds of holy matrimony. And what happened was they married these women, these boss chicks, these career women, or these modern women, or whatever these people are, that said they were open, and what open meant was no. That's what it means.
I know that. I've experienced that personally.
No. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've experienced that personally. I already know that part. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay, but I'm saying for our viewers, some of these people out here may not know that.
Yeah. No, I get that, but what I'm saying is, when, like, it's one thing to hear that response after saying, yeah, I want 1 or 2 kids, but to instantly jump from I want between 2 and 10, that's an extreme. I think he may have been joking, but I don't.
He might want multiple kids, but here's the one thing that on this show that is real is, if you say you don't want any more kids as a woman on this show, you're in trouble. You might be the next one eliminated.
Yeah,
these guys serious about having at least one for their legacy and stuff like that. And this is not the type of show with that kind of competition where you could cut half the field in half, unless you were Venetia and you found who you wanted from day one, and he was a popular enough guy to keep you on the show. Not she would have been gone day 2.
Yeah, because she didn't want any more either, right? Because she already had her 3, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So that one girl admitted it in the card game that she didn't want any more kids. She's in trouble, and it just is what it is.
Which one? Who was that who admitted they didn't want any more kids? Was that I
think it was the one that with 2 already.
Mika with the brown dress on, with the very like Venetia with the very shapely figure.
Yeah, I think it was her.
Yeah, she don't want any more.
Yeah, she's gonna be in trouble.
I don't know though. She got that very shapely figure. That might help her out.
I mean, it's gonna help, but the fact of the matter is, these guys are serious about them kids, and they're gonna want to have one at least, their legacies and stuff like that. So, like what he was saying, the guy say you want multiple kids, that's what he want. I mean, if he want 2, 3, you know, I don't just want 1 kid, I want 2. He's serious about that.
I used to tell my daughter had a friend who at a very young age had a pregnancy and had a child, had a little girl, beautiful little girl, and the young lady herself, very, very beautiful. When I say very beautiful, like very, very beautiful, just stunning. And she was dating, and I used to tell her, I said, so when you meet the guy, I said, because she would tell me all the time, I'm not going to have any more children. She only had the one. And I said to her, I said, well, now, do you want to marry at some point? She said, oh, yeah, I definitely want to marry. I said, well, don't you understand that most young men your age or even 5, 10 years older, that's maybe, let's say 35 with no kids, they're going to expect and want you to have their children. And she was like, well, I don't know, this and that, this and that. And I said, well, yeah. And then one day she came back to me, a couple months, a year later and said, yeah, you were absolutely right. The guys, they want to have children. And I said, well, yeah, because that's part of the purpose of marriage is having children within the bonds of marriage. That's the purpose of it.
It's part of the purpose. And I hate to be the real or mean about it, but ain't no dude about to sit up there in the house with your 2 kids and not have his own for life.
Exactly. And I'm going to tell you another real quick story. My neighbor who had, again, same thing, had a child. And then, met shortly after having her child, met a guy who was a real stand-up guy, became like a father figure to her child, because, that father was not really very present at the moment. Wanted to marry her. This guy wanted to marry her. And she was talking to my mother, and I found out later after they got married, my mother was, kind of having a conversation with me. Well, she was asking my mom for advice, like, he wants to have children. Should I have his baby? And my mother was like, of course. What do you mean, should you have his baby? He's over there raising your child, and you're asking whether, of course. My mother's not direct like me. So, she's Southern. She's from Texas, and she had that sweet Southern woman, like, she could get around to getting the answer. Well, the lady did have his baby. They're happily married, 2 grown kids, the one she brought into the marriage and the one they had inside the marriage. But the point of the matter is, most men, when they're under 50, they're looking for a wife to have their child. So what is this whole concept? If you don't want to have children, that's fine, but be very sure you find a guy that is the same way or has already had children with his first wife, because there's no way these guys are marrying you and expecting you to have a child, and you're talking about you're open to having a baby, and then you're lying about it. That is wrong. That is so wrong. So
but if you're gonna be a lady and you're enjoying this show, lie about it, because if not, you're gonna be the next one eliminated.
Ron says, don't give people bad advice, Ron. That's not right.
I'm giving like this strategic advice for future show goers who might go on the show.
Okay.
It's still part game here, still part of a game type of show too. On top of the love,
Okay, yeah. When you put it that way. Okay. So let's see, we get down to skip a couple of these because we kind of talked about some other stuff related to it. We talked about Glenn. Okay, so let's get to this. This is an interesting little conversation here. Koshia was chatting, and she's talking to Will. Now, Will, remember now, Will is much younger, right? He's a much younger guy. He's a little cocky. And she's telling him the story that she married her husband only to find out after she married this guy that he had 4 kids. What do you make of that, Calvin? What did you make of that scene?
Well, I mean, but they got divorced, right? They got divorced. Yep. They didn't stay married long because 4 kids, different women. Why would you marry somebody and hide the fact that you have children? Because that's a bad barometer. Because what about us? What kind of relationship are we gonna have? If you're all over the place or whatever, but you don't acknowledge your children, but you're so focused on yourself, and you're already thinking like that, what can I possibly gain from,
Yeah, I'm not having
your children, what kind of loyalty do you have to me?
Right. I'm not. Yeah. I was just gonna say, as a woman, I'm not having kids with no guy. If I'm young enough back then, I'm not having kids with no guy that's already got 4 already. There's no way. I'm not gonna marry him. I don't know how he hid those kids from him, but if you think about it, if he's not married to the women, there's no record in the local courthouses of him getting married, without him telling you, you may not necessarily know, but are you over to his house? Are you seeing? I remember one time when I was really young, I dated a guy. He swore he didn't have any kids, and I go to his house, and inside the refrigerator, he told me I could go help myself. Why are there bottles of formula in your refrigerator, but you don't have children? So that was the last time I saw him, right? Goodbye.
But that's just it. Why would you marry somebody and be deceptive at the same time?
He's a liar. He's a liar. Oh, okay, Calvin, and I want the other guys to join in, but I'm going to ask you this part. Okay, so when she tells Will that, he responds to her and says, "Well, the ding-a-ling must have been that good, huh?" What did you think of him commenting that to her?
That was out of character. For one thing, you don't even know her like that. Now, she took offense to that because I'm not that kind of person. I was committed to him, and he betrayed me. Now you're going to make this derogatory remark. I don't need you either. She took offense to it. Well, because maybe some women would have been okay with it, but she wasn't, Be careful about how you present yourself to a person,
Yeah.
Be careful. Don't assume things about a person,
That had my bottom lip hit the floor. Like, you say what now? You say what? And I would have just said just something like that. You said what now? Beg your pardon?
I mean, the guy, he's 31. That's how the 31-year-old girls are the one, he's 31. He's probably dating younger because most guys are. That's how the girls talk to each other.
Oh, that's how they speak to one another?
Yeah, that's how I speak. So that goes in the club. That goes in everywhere else.
31. I couldn't be 31 again. I would just become a nut.
Yeah, he was just having regular talk. He forgot where he was at. You know what I mean? Because the mixer is I know y'all already talked about the with the Glenn dude. That's the dude didn't show up, but
right.
I understand how that goes because that was a scary feeling. The first mixer out, it's serious. That it's kind of nerve wracking and stuff like that. So everybody's nervous. They just throw you out there. They don't give you the instruction, direction, or anything. You get a half glass of cheap champagne. They throw you out there, and and you're not in order. You don't know what order you are. It's people already talking. It's like it's
nerves. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's like if you're not used to that type of scene, I could see it being terrifying for a person. But yeah, so everybody's trying to divert back to what they thought worked at one point of time in their life. And he was like, well, shoot, this is the way I talk to the girls.
Yeah.
You forget that you're on TV. You forget that who you talk to, the women are a little older, stuff like that. And you just go into your mode. And like I said, in his mode at 31, that joke would have went over.
Yeah, because you know what? Later on, he's talking to Alexis, and Alexis loves him. She loves his brash and his out there. He's very outspoken. She likes that, and that's fine. I see what you're saying because my daughter and I, some of the things her friends might say, they're gonna hit with her different than they're gonna hit with me. I just, I could see why she kind of like, okay, ooh, child, you're doing too much, because the language, the whole ding-a-ling thing, and then basically also that he was saying that she was de-whipped, that was kind of very familiar, and you don't know me yet. Now, if you're my friend, you can say that to me if you're my friend and we talk like that. But if you're not my friend and you're just meeting me, sir, keep it, PG-13, please. Okay? But JR, your thoughts about it too. What are your thoughts about that conversation?
Yeah, I agree. Like it's a very immature thing to say, but then again, he is younger than her, and when you're at the mixer, I can imagine if you're 31, you're talking to people who are 35 and up, 40s, then they're expecting you to be an esteemed, I won't say gentleman, but they're expecting you to present yourself in a much more mature way. But to me, the reason why he took that approach could possibly be because he immediately eliminated her from all serious contention when he heard that. So it was like, okay, well, there's no need for me to be a gentleman and all this other stuff because she's out. Like, what, 4 kids that you didn't know about? Married already? Got kids as well? Nah, not for me when I'm 31. Sorry. So, yeah, quite an immature response. Not surprised by it, to be honest. But I can see why she was offended, because she probably didn't expect him, someone to say such an immature thing and be so crass with language. Even though there may be some truth to it, because women, historically, women are snoopers. They like to do due diligence. They like to vet. They like to go through phones. They like to look at what's going on in your house,
you
in your
did say
drawers. All, they go through all your belongings as a guy. So
they do, but it's certain guys, it's certain men they don't vet as much, and we know what type of guys those are.
Oh yeah, that's Pookie Ray Ray.
It's certain men they don't vet.
Yeah, there's Pookie
Wait a minute, who is it? We're not vetting, Ryan, while you over there talking all that.
I mean, a little average short dude and stuff like that. You all up in his stuff, but let that successful, tall, dark, and handsome dude come out. You ain't checking his stuff. Like you ain't betting him as much. He gets all the passes. The relationship moves a little faster. You get to the sex part a little faster. All that stuff moves a little more faster and smoother. It ain't as much questions. You seeing everything. You looking at the surface level. You seeing all that surface look so good, and y'all don't never dig deeper in after that part. But let that man be. Let you be giving him a shot or giving him a chance. You're gonna be all up in his stuff.
like Will basically said to Koshia that basically she didn't vet her dude, because how do you find out after you marry a guy that he's got 4 kids?
No, I bet that dude got it. I bet that dude's a looker. He got it all together, right? He didn't get. Ain't none of them girls better him. He
driving a Benz. Oh,
she moved quick on that because she thought she had to catch and stuff like that, and it happens. I mean, we just gotta be honest about it. But yeah, some guys get vetted, some guys don't. It is what it is. But in his like I said, his defense is a mixer. If I'm 31, I don't got no game for no 36-year-old ex-married woman. I ain't experienced that. I'm in the club hollering at, 26, 27-year-olds, my 31-year-old Will. So it's like, I understand that, older, mature woman, it ain't gonna work there, but it might work with somebody younger. He didn't know. He got nervous and had to divert back to what he knows. Like when Nelly said, so my old mama hate it, but my little mama love it. Like he got younger.
Okay. But you know what? I think mine is the word and him being just assuming so much. Because let's say this: if we were to flip it around, and a man was saying, older man or whatever is saying to, or even a same age man is saying to a woman, "Well, I married this woman. It turns out she had these extra kids, or she had children. I didn't even know about it. She never told me." And then if a woman was to say to that man, "Well, yeah, that them yams must have been so good," that's very forward.
It is very crass, but the fact of the matter is, when you say that to a 31-year-old out the blue like that, his first thing is gonna be like, "Okay, I got to break the ice," because I don't have any. I don't have any experience to talk about that to kind of give you some advice or say anything about that. That's so far out of my atmosphere to what I deal with on a daily basis at 31 years old that all I know is we're shocked right now. Let me tell a joke to break the ice.
Oh, okay. So you feel like it was the joke to break the ice?
It was a joke to break the ice because he's like, "Dang, where'd this come from?" Woo.
I do see him having good sense of humor with Alexis later on, and he continues that path. I find him, like I said, I think he's kind of warm. He's funny. He's definitely chocolatey. A lot of the women say they like the chocolatey guy, so he's got that chocolate thing going on. He's young, so maybe there's not, anything wrong with. There's nothing wrong with that. So I think it was just. It threw her off. You're right. It definitely threw her off. But now I think Wes in the comments is making a comment that I find very interesting. I want to kind of bring that up. He says that now it's 2 things that he said. Will now knows that he can't be himself around Koshia. He will now play games instead of keeping it real with her. And I thought, that's interesting. And then, but this is the one I started. Okay. Koshia's response is why some men don't bother trying to approach women in public anymore. Is that true, Calvin? Do you think that men don't approach women in public anymore because women can have that turn their nose up? Because I think he asked her for her social media, and she kind of, you could see them going into his phone, and I guess she gave him her social media. And then at the end, she kind of stuck her tongue out, like as if to say, ugh. I thought that was a little childish on her part, but he saw her do it too. So that couldn't have felt very good for him. But what do you think, Calvin?
I have to think.
Okay.
Women,
Go ahead. You ready?
It's just that I don't know. I guess because when I'm out in public, women speak to me and I speak to them. I think it's an individualized thing. It's how you function, what kind of vibration you give out, and how you approach women. Because the thing about it is that if you into your own personal gain and you're not into trying to be consider another person's needs, then maybe you think that it's not so much that they're not worth it, but maybe you just kind of bring feelings and emotions that you anticipate something that may not be good for you. I mean, you have to be a user-friendly person and embrace women and look at them as being something worthwhile to the opportunity to explore. I think it's up to the guys, what kind of perspective you have, If you're on a search and destroy, if you're on your personal, just seeking out a woman for vain pursuits, then maybe you're not in tune with just, hello, how you doing, how you feel, Instead of saying, what can I get out the deal? I think it's according to the individual, That's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a good time, then maybe you
good
don't.
time, but not a long time.
But not a long time, yeah. So I think it's fair and dependent upon what your motive is, Depends on you.
Okay, thank you for that. JR, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, again, another telling sign. Like, a younger guy's gonna ask for your socials instead of being an older guy will probably ask for your phone number. And it's a sign of the times in the dating market, I guess. But it also showed me that he's not feeling her, because your social media interaction is not really personal, is it? It's the phone number and the calling and the texting and the video chats and all that stuff that give you a strong feeling of communication and that the person's into you. If he just wants your social media, just wants to basically see what you're up to, or maybe see your pictures when you post something.
But good point.
Yeah, like no connection there. As we said, the age discrepancy is one thing, and then the crass remark, I don't think he's going to recover from that with her anyway. So,
what do you think? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that was it.
What do you think? Let me just add this on top of it. This is the last layer, and we'll get to Ron in a second. What do you think? Kiki says that Koshia opened the door by sharing that information so soon. What do you think? Do you agree with that?
Yep. I mean, she was transparent though, and problem is she was transparent with the wrong guy.
Right. She picked the wrong guy. Discernment
that she may have had, it's not something that you just come out and tell any and everybody, because that might be the response from someone who sees that as a strange thing to have happened, or too immature to really process how that could have happened.
Right.
But she didn't elaborate on any details because she didn't get the chance to. That crass remark stopped her from going further into talking about what actually happened. If it was a surprise to her, that could have been traumatizing or really questioned her thoughts about relationships and confidence in having a relationship, etc. Because to get married to someone who's hidden that from you, that doesn't sound like a whirlwind romance. Or maybe it could have been, but that doesn't sound like you just met each other and went down the aisle straight away. And if that's the case, if that's not the case, then there must have been a sustained level of deceit on his part, on the ex-husband's part, to conceal those kids.
Has she not met any of his family? I'm beginning to wonder now, because again, I think it is, let's be fair, it would be easier typically in a typical situation we think of, and I guess I'm going to traditionalism. Even if you're divorced, that a woman typically has the kids upon divorce more than the father of the children would have the children, typically, especially if they're younger. And so how did he hide it? But I'm thinking too, did she meet any of his family members? Did she go to family events before they got married? And your family is talking across the table, hey, where's Junior at? Why is Junior not here? Where's little Susie? So to
not only that though, family members. Were there any phone calls from baby mother or plural baby mothers? The kids' birthdays, some, hospital appointments, so many different things where kids would have needed their father to do something, unless he's only financially contributing and doesn't have any relationship with them. But even still, that's something that should have come out long before they got married.
Hey, wait a minute, JR. What about this? They live in different states. The children and the father live in a different state. Then that could maybe explain a little bit the gap, right?
Yeah, yeah, but again, do they come and visit? Because they would have had personal effects at his house. And if they don't come and visit, maybe FaceTime, video time. I'm sure if he would have had to have been in some contact with them, unless they're very estranged and he has no relationship with them whatsoever, but he's still financially responsible for them.
Okay.
Four is tough. I mean, I think, like I said, yeah, I can live a life in Houston like I don't have a kid and nobody would know. But I'm with my kid all the time. But but still, I
see her. She's gorgeous. I love her.
but you could. I mean, I could do it, but I couldn't do it times 4.
Well, Papa,
yeah, that's a lot. I mean, like, if the kids are even older, are they?
And older would be even harder because, like I said, you're gonna have your kid a little more.
The kids are calling your teenage kids, "Hey, Dad, I need some money for the high school prom or whatever." Like they're calling them. I don't know. It sounds like too, though, maybe he's not involved in their life. If he had to,
Rolling Stone.
Yeah, there you go, Calvin. Rolling Stone. Which here's the problem with that as a woman, because guess what? He still got child support to pay, and that still affects their finances at the end of the day, right?
Exactly. And that's probably why they got divorced.
That's probably why they got divorced. The finances didn't make sense because she was, like I said, he's probably a very attractive looking guy, and it probably kind of wheeled her in from there. But yeah, when you get to open up them books in that marriage, and that's how a lot of marriages end real quick. You can't lie about them books when it gets opened up, and you find out what's the real income, what's the real money. When you look past the Mercedes that's probably about to get repoed or whatever, what he got in the savings, where's the money coming in, where it's coming out. And when she got to look at them books, she probably was like, nah.
Yeah.
But his defense. In her, the reason why she blew him off is that she can't do nothing with a 31-year-old man. Like she's already been married. So obviously she didn't even do a lot of research. So she really wanted to be married, and she's not gonna take a 31-year-old guy serious. I'll tell a man that when you're 30, if I was 31 again, you can't really. It's hard to date younger because they in a hot girl summer phases and stuff.
Yeah.
And the 35 and 36-year-old girls ain't gonna take you serious. So it's just like, because they're looking at their last shot to get the guy they get the guy, the real established guy, stuff like that. If you're 31, date 44, 45, and just have fun. Because them women will link up with you on the Kruger style. You can still have your little sex. You can still get to work and do your thing. You don't got to worry about the babies. And just wait your turn until you get 36, 37, 38, a little more established under your belt. And then go find your wife. But at 31 is a bad age for men dating.
Wow. I don't know. You say and you saying you couldn't date. You don't see the 31-year-old man who's got a good job, a career, been in this field for maybe 7 years, doing well, clocking them numbers, successful. He wants to get married and start working on his legacy, on his children. You can't see a 31-year-old guy finding a 26, 27, 28 year old woman who also has her stuff together.
He could get lucky. He can get lucky, but I mean, I wouldn't invest a lot of time in luck. You know what I mean? I'll focus on my career, focus on my stuff. And like I said, men, we got to get our urges satisfied. There's a lot of older women that gave up, that don't want to have kids and gave up on the whole marriage thing and stuff, and were like a young stallion in the mix. So, you go in there smooth, smelling good, and go up there to the older spot. I see it all the time in Houston. I see the young guys now going to the older spots. I know why they're there. I get it.
You do bring up an interesting thing, because I can remember, and I was still going to the clubs like in my early 30s and probably just my early 30s, because I didn't really do the clubs for that long like that. Like some people like Ron, hint, hint. But when I did in my 30s, my early 30s, I can remember the guys started coming up to me, were in their 20s, and I'm like, I've always loved older men. I've never really dated men my age too much. And then now all of a sudden these younger men are coming up to me, and I'm thinking, wow, what do I do with them? But I did meet one, and we were on the dance floor, and I told him, I said, wow, like, because like you said, he had that raw energy, right? That
young fun.
I'm like, okay, well, maybe I've been missing out here, but I just never really liked young guys. But you're right, there's that balance. There's that balance between men and women, so it's kind of tricky. But let's see where we at. We got a couple more things. So the game, they're playing the game Hot and Bothered. Tommy comes in. Tommy is outside, and he tells them, come on, we're going to go inside, and we're going to play this game Hot and Bothered. What I want the men to do, only the men are guessing, who made this comment, or who does this whose turn off is this, which lady, and which turn on is this. And so he gives them a couple things, like, which lady was a basketball referee. Seemed like it could have been a very obvious answer with Alexis. Some of the guys got it, some of the guys didn't, right? And a couple more things. It seemed like a lot of the questions and answers were Koshia. Is it just me? Are we going to have another Janelle this season, Ron?
Nah, not with this group of guys.
Okay. Just want to check it out. Okay. But anyway, so they do the game, and the one who wins was Dominique won, so he's safe from elimination. And now Tommy talks to the ladies and finds out that the ladies, what are the ladies saying here? Oh God, how do I have these notes still in here from? But anyway, the ladies, we get the two guys. We got DeMonte, and who was the other guy? William, right? No, not LaRon. It was William. LaRon, he's a cutie pie. Nobody's throwing him away. I told you.
Oh no, I was thinking that he was one of the last. It was him left. Right?
Oh yeah. But he wasn't, right. So Tommy asked William. We gotta be careful with the William, but William is the tall guy with the goatee, bald head. A little awkward, but I think he's kind of cute too. And then you got the fashion guy, which I told you that guy wasn't going to make it. So ultimately, DeMonte lost. He was eliminated, right? So what did you
Wrong choice.
Think? Well, okay, but why? Because you weren't here for the earlier part. A lot of the even the men, one of the men in the chat said the same thing that I thought, was that DeMonte had feminine tendencies. So
he did a little bit. He did the fashion and stuff. He dressing the girls up. But yeah, I mean, he went a bad looking dude. I mean, I think he made a mistake with he wore his reunion suit to the mixer. You can't do that. Be a little more comfortable.
Okay.
But at 42, I think he had no kids. I mean, he had some stuff you could work with. Yeah, his problem was, and honestly, the women would never admit it, but if you looked at him walk up to Larnell, who you kind of already know is kind of short, DeMonte was about 1.5 inches shorter than Larnell.
Who is it? Who's short?
You would think Larnell's kind of short.
Who is Larnell?
Or not Larnell. What's his name? The 31-year-old. LaRon, yeah. And when DeMonte walked up to LaRon, he's about 1.5 inches to 2 inches shorter than LaRon.
Oh, okay.
And I told you in the mixer where it's kind of a meat market and stuff, the short guy always is in the top to leave first. Women like height.
Oh, okay. You have said that to us.
Yeah. So anytime you look at the first guy going, you always look at the height first.
Yeah, but
because that guy, if he's in a taller 6'4" with the chub, because I'll tell you, if you're gonna be short and a little chubby and stuff like that, don't grow the big beard. It kind of look like Santa Claus, like, you know what I mean? Get smooth and more clean cut, like what's my man Mario Winans. So you want to be short and smooth like that, but you don't want the big beard make you look shorter, like lumberjackish, like, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, you don't have like if that body was in that's what if you light skinned, bald head, long beard, 6'4", little husky. They ain't letting that guy go. But him in a shorter form, he can then is by.
So you're saying that let the wrong guy go, basically based on his age, because there's nothing else to really recommend the guy they let go. He wasn't listening to the women. He wasn't asking questions of the women. He was busy talking about himself and those 5, 6, 7 little fashion shows that he's done.
He came in confident, but you know what I mean?
Okay.
A little overconfident, maybe. No, any such thing as overconfident. It's a competition. It's a mixer. You got to come to win. You got to come to play.
Right. You're missing my point. He wasn't into the women. He was all about himself. No woman, I'm going to tell you, black, white, Latina, no woman wants a man that's only about himself. Because let me tell you something. When they're only about themselves in conversation, that's the way they are in the hot and heavy time too. So those things cross over across the board. If he's selfish talking, he's going to be selfish in every other aspect of his being.
I get it, but we ain't that. We is the mixer first day. They don't know nobody. They couldn't even play that game in real life. They was trying to gang it. They don't even know each other's names at this point. And we all struggle. We were to try to figure out each other's names and stuff like that. If that dude was 6'3", 6'4", he's still here next week. Guarantee.
DeMonte was not 6'4".
No, I said if he was, he was like 5'8". He was the shortest guy there. It seemed like.
No,
but
you're getting all the men's that. Can I move over to JR? Hold that thought, Rod. Just hold on for a second. JR, what are your thoughts about the did they get rid of the right guy? Ron says no. What do you say?
Yeah, I think he had a couple of things that he wasn't going to be able to bounce back from, right? So yeah, first of all, they saw him as being self-centered. Second of all, the dress sense, the fashion sense that we were speaking about. Third of all, the tattoos that he said he had significance and all of that, and they didn't. He had quite a few things. And then also him being the age he is and not being established in his career for long enough, in some people's opinion, may have played a role. So yeah, there were too many things that he couldn't really bounce back from. So that's why I think he got voted out. But to be honest, I thought it was going to be him or the comedian.
Yeah.
Because, if someone told you they're a professional comedian, if you ain't heard about them getting Netflix specials or, just like Cat Williams was talking about, if you ain't doing nothing really on on an original tip where you're coming up with your own jokes and selling out stadiums and stuff, then, how much money are you really making doing stand-up? And is that a viable career when your career is dependent on making people laugh? So I thought it was going to be either fashion dude or comedian. So either one of them could have gone.
I say you're running one of young bucks.
Oh, so you go get rid of
Run's hating on the young guys.
They've been doing it. They remember the DC. They got rid of the young dude eventually.
Wiley.
Yeah, they had to get rid of Wiley eventually because we're at the stage now where everybody nervous. It's the mixer. I remember the mixer more than anything. It was one of my favorite times because production couldn't really get involved in the mixer that much because it's kind of just like a free for all. Like, you know what I mean? It's like no rules. You're out in the wild. So it was the most freest we were, you know what I mean? Without being kind of controlled and stuff like that. So
okay,
they're out there. You don't really know anybody as a meat market and things of that nature. So it's like, who you're going to end up getting to know people and they're going to grow on you. So I think give a 42-year-old a chance to grow on you before you let a 30-year-old thinking he's going to grow on somebody that's 36, 37, 38. So, you know what I mean? DeMonte might have came off feminine and he wore the wrong thing and he could have been off his game. Right. But I think where at his age, you give him a chance to grow on you, to bounce back a little bit because it wasn't a bunch of 40-year-old guys there.
There's some things you're not going to come back from. Like, you're not going to come back from a bad smile, bad breath. You're not going to come back from feminine tendencies if you're a man with most
You
women.
say that, but let's say DeMonte next episode, he learns from himself. He show up in the motorcycle. He got the tats on. He got the cut off. He got the shades on and stuff. He's looking like.
This is the way he is. This is him, and I'm not mad at him for having feminine tendencies. But what you're not gonna do, you're not gonna pawn some guy off on me with feminine tendencies that I gotta be worried about. You're not gonna pawn him off on me. You're not gonna do that.
I'm thinking it from a different point of view. I'm thinking it from a mixer point of view. A person was in there. I remember I was in the the mixer. I was the last one out, last guy out. I was in the bottom 3. And what I learned the next day when we did the thing, I was like, I got to take off this suit. I got to get more relaxed. I got to be more me. You know what I mean? I had to switch it up, but you know what I mean? Because you overthought it. I overthought it. You know what I mean? So I was like, man, let me get back to doing leaning towards my strong strengths instead of worried about what I'm weak at or whatever like that. Let me play to what my strengths are.
Let me bring my Detroit Mac Daddy over here to Houston and show him what it's all about. And they was like, ooh, yeah, right. Ooh. When you told who was that? You told somebody you got all masculine and see, this is the thing that we women like. Like, notice how the guy with the muscles, notice how, what is that? Dominique, the one that got he didn't even need that card to not be eliminated, to be safe. He was going to be safe anyway. All the women talked about how masculine he was. Women crave, just like men crave feminine women, women crave masculine men. There's no point in me being with a man if he's not masculine. What's the point? What's the point?
I get it, but
I haven't talked to Calvin. Calvin, what did you think? Did they eliminate the right man or not? What were your thoughts?
Well, again, they move so swiftly. You got to eliminate the first show, but they didn't get a chance to. Who did you really get a chance to know? That's all I'm saying. It moves so fast. You may have moved, but then there's something that they did for, again, 3 things. Like I said, it could be a ratings game, production, like you say. You eliminated people quickly. Also, you had my dogs. 2 dogs just came in. You had eliminated people quickly. Also, the age difference, and then and then the next episode you give a preview. They're gonna be catfighting. So I don't know. Maybe something is going on.
Not the catfight. We don't have another Janelle on our hands. Why are the women catfighting, Calvin? That's not productive.
But why do they structure? I don't know. Maybe it's trying to make sure it's more dramatic, more ratings. I don't know. We'll see. We see it's going in a different format. So it's going swifter, and people are they really getting a chance to know one another. You dismiss them based upon you out of here, So we'll see. We'll see.
We're gonna see, guys. That's it. That's a lot. That's a lot right there. Okay, so real quick, we're gonna go around from Calvin, and we'll go down to Ron, and then we'll come over to JR. The question is, this is the final question. So the question is, did you like this format? And we don't want a long drawn out answer, Calvin, wink, wink.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. But no, because we're gonna wrap it up. Calvin was the main one that wanted me to wrap things up so he could get back to his sweet honey wife. And I'm with you. I'm all for marriage. But Calvin, do you like the new format a little bit better, or about the same, or not at all?
I don't like it. Because it's too swift. And they're not getting a chance to know one another. This is moving too swift for them.
Okay. So Calvin says thumbs down. Okay, Calvin, thank you. Ron, what did you like? Did you like this new format? It's different from when you were on Ready to Love. Do you like this smaller grouping?
So the new format, I forgot what Tommy was announcing what was going to happen. So they're just bringing 5 in first, and then they're going to bring the other 5 in next.
Yeah, they had, I guess it was supposed to be 6 men, but one, didn't show up. Yeah. Then they had, what was it, JR, was it 4 women or 5 women?
I think it was 4.
4. Okay, thank you. Oh, thank you, Calvin. 4. There were 4. So it would have been a total of 10. And then in the next grouping, they're going to have 9 more people, and they're going to have a small mixer for those 9 people. And then they're going to bring them together for the brunch, all 18 of them or whatever's left. So what do you think about that?
I think both ways. I mean, you're definitely gonna get to know them better in a smaller group setting.
Yeah.
But it puts a lot of more pressure on you because now you're eliminating out of 10 people instead of 20. So them guys, they probably was thinking nothing but elimination on their head because only 5 and 1 gotta go. Like that's your percentages go crazy. So it's like it's probably nerve-wracking with that. So and then, I don't know. I guess I think the best format probably is to bring everybody out and just let everybody kind of meet each other and do it. I do like the fact, like I said, you can get to know people better on a smaller system, but if you're gonna do that, you can't do eliminations on the first day.
Yeah, we keep telling they're not listening to us bloggers, YouTubers. We've been saying the same thing. Stop having.
I'm not showing up. Like I can understand why the other guy didn't show up because honestly, and I've met countless of castmates, probably 80% of the people who've ever been on here, and everybody, like 100% of them would say, if I had a choice to be on the show and I knew I was gonna be the first person eliminated, I wouldn't have been on the show. I wouldn't have went on the show. No way in the world. 100%, not 99, not 90, whatever like that. Nobody wants to get eliminated first. It's the worst thing. I got people that's been through so much trauma off the first elimination. It is crazy. And I mean, people now I can't even be friends with no more. It's just mentally just broken down, and it's because of the show. And I ain't gonna lie, it's because of being the first person eliminated. And now you're breaking it down.
You're saying wait. You're saying you're not talking about the people that were on the show and maybe halfway through it they got eliminated. You're talking about the people.
No, they're fine. Once you got on the show, you ain't got halfway through. I don't care how bad your head it was or whatever like that.
Right.
You remember, like here's for people that's future going on this show, because I'm sick of the trauma that comes with the first elimination. Do not tell anybody, not even your family, that you're on the show until after you're done filming. You know where it ends at. Because the first thing you do is you get excited. You tell everybody, I'm on the Oprah show. And then you get one little cut, you know what I mean? You out it, and then you're looking at everybody else, and you start measuring yourself to the other people, and you start playing back in your head what you did wrong. And then they just, it ain't no parting gifts or anything like that. When they kick you out, they kick you out. You don't hear from nobody until a day before the name reunion. And you be lucky if you get a part on that. Most of the first offs didn't even get no parts on the reunion. So it's just like it's a waste of time. You didn't went through all that stuff and told everybody. They give you $100 in Sprite you don't even hear it. Nobody tells you thank you for coming out. They don't say nothing. They just you pay for your own gas to get back, and you done. It's over. And man, everything else moved on, and it's just like it's bad. And then the way they got to make you look to get you off first is they always do some stuff like this where they, it's just bad clip after bad clip after bad clip, and nobody tells you any of the smooth stuff that you did in the mixer, and it's just bad. So, and then you gotta go tell your mama that he was on, he was the first one. You know what I mean? Everybody expecting to see you, and you just not there. So it's just like don't tell anybody at first because everybody's afraid. Yeah, that people admit to some trauma on that first one being eliminated. They just can't let it go. And yeah, I really didn't understand it, but I just seen it so many times.
One of my favorite panelists, and you know her. Oh God, I'm not going to tell you what I forgot this weekend. But anyway, one of my favorite panelists, all-time favorite Ready to Love persons is Kina, and she was eliminated on her season. She was eliminated first.
Yeah, and I bet if you ask her, she'd say, I would just rather not have done it. But Kenya's a very strong-minded woman. All that stuff was already there, so she can handle it better than some others. Yeah, but even if you asked her, she'd probably be like, I'd rather probably not even went on. But others have took it serious. I mean, we talk offline, but some bad stuff. And like I said, now that I know how that is, and you're doing it on a 5, it's only 5 guys, 1 got to go. I mean, you didn't took the elimination down 50%. Ugh.
They're gonna.
I might not have went on with them odds.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know what? I'm afraid they're gonna flip it probably on the women next week, and it's gonna be the women that a woman that'll get eliminated,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but 5-1 is a tough elimination. Like, I'll do a 10-1. give me no 10% odds.
10%, right? Yeah, those are much
yeah, give me 10% odds of going home first. But yeah, you give me 5-1. I'm like,
Yeah, let me get over here and see what Uncle Calvin, what he's saying. Calvin, come on. What do you think? What do you think?
I just said something. Oh, but like I was saying, it moved too quickly. You don't give people a chance to to get themselves their point across, so who they really can be, because you might have just been having a bad hair day, and you show up and you're not really who you need to be for that moment. But the next time you can rise to the occasion. Be fair.
Wait a minute. I just saw something in the chat. We have everyone here on our panel, Michelle, is here because they are articulate, bright. They have their own unique perspective. I don't know why you're asking that question, but if you don't like that, then that's, he's going to be here. He's going to be here. And I don't know what to tell you. I really don't, but I don't like the comment you left in the. So I was trying to address it. I was going to type it out, but I just said it. So okay. But anyway, let's see. Tell us about what you've got going on, Calvin. Since I've got you up, you were speaking. I'm sorry I interrupted you, by the way.
That's okay. That's okay.
I just happened to see that. I thought that was a little not nice at all. But tell us about what you got going on, Calvin.
Well, I'm an author dealing with transformation. The title of my book is Be You Transformed by the Renewal of the Mind. I'm into helping people help themselves, working on your mental health and your spiritual wellness. That's my goal. To help people help themselves. I'm an advocate for mental health and helping people realize how dynamic they can be despite the things you go through.
Yes, and he is truly a transformation specialist. Let me tell you guys, this man is very inspiring, very encouraging. I talk to Calvin often, and his story about his life and his book is very inspiring. We're going to bring Calvin back one day to talk specifically only about his book. So stay tuned for that. So make sure you check your notification. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And thank you for that, Calvin.
I may want also I spend more time on Facebook. I'm on Facebook, Calvin Thompson.
Oh yes,
that's where I spend most of my time. I'm just now starting to get into YouTube, but most of my time I spend on Facebook.
Okay, all right. I remember those days when I used to be just a Facebook gal.
Yeah. I'm learning. Be patient.
You getting in there with that technology, and that's something I like about you, Calvin. Us older heads I think it's fine that as long as we're alive, we're always learning and we're getting used to this technology. We're embroiled in it. We're enjoying it, and we're mixing with the younger set, and they're vibing with us. We're vibing with them. I love this about this channel. When I look at my analytics, that there is a strong population of men that frequent this channel, and there is like a 5 or 6 group, I forget the age categories, but from 18 to like 65 and up, we got it covered. So I love that about this channel. So I hope that everybody appreciates the perspectives here. If you don't agree, that's one thing, but it's your choice to tune in or not. Ron, tell us what you got going on and where people can find you. You all over. You on Instagram and you're on Facebook too, right?
Yeah, like I guess about 2 weeks away, probably starting the most controversial thing on the internet with my podcast, Good Cop, Bad Cop. If you've been on my Facebook, you see I've been going viral with my relationship takes on there about women dating multiple men at the same time, and that's okay. That's the new thing that's going on. The women don't keep your eggs in one basket.
The ladies dating multiple men, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's kind of like the new thing, and I understand they say the men do it, but when you do that, I tell them on there, hey, you need to kind of date different types of guys. That swimming pool of men you think you have is actually a jacuzzi, because if you're going to date 40 successful, tall beard. These guys probably all know each other in a certain part of the city and stuff. The women be like, how you know that guy? And I'd be like, well, how would I not know how would I be out and not meet myself? The guys are all similar in that dating pool. So it's just like, guys are getting sick of dabbing up your last date because they already know them because you're out with them and stuff. So if you're gonna date multiple guys, you can't really. It's hard to do it and date for the same pool of men. In the city, some women agree with it, some women got mad, but that's gonna be part of the Good Cop Bad Cop podcast.
Okay. I will be looking forward to that. I'm gonna go over and check out your Facebook now that you mentioned it.
Yeah. I've always been viral on some of my hot takes on there and stuff. And like I said, it's gonna be a podcast format, multiple guests, multiple different point of views, but we're gonna keep it real. I mean, I think I have a lot of street knowledge of what's going on, and it's not just about dating relationships. We have some business stuff and just overall well-being of self. But it's just trying to help people out, and be real with everybody, and kind of fill that gap for men and women.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that because you definitely got your own unique take on things, Kevin. I mean, not Kevin Samuels. I mean, Ron. Okay.
We're gonna have some viral moments. I get it. I mean, I've been trying to not do it, but the fact of the matter is, too many people was just like, man, you have to. So we already got a bunch of episodes kind of already filmed. I'm gonna wait to get 15 out done first before I start launching, so I can market it at the same time without having to keep on filming for the first couple of weeks. But looking pretty good so far.
Oh, that's good. That's great. That's great. Hey, Peter. And not last but certainly not least, our beloved JR. Tell us what you got going on over there, and what's all the things that are thinging and all that good stuff. Did JR leave us? Hello, JR. JR must have went for a break for a refreshing beverage. Hello, JR. Well, everybody, have you hit the like button? I'm sure you enjoyed this refreshing conversation with varying viewpoints and opinions. I've enjoyed you guys all being here, staying until the end. So please hit that like button. Even if you're in the bushes, I see you. I see you in the bushes. Go ahead and like the video, please. And then definitely go over and check out the Married at First Sight video that is up now from the latest episode. We do a recap that is so hilarious. Well, yeah, and Kimberly is saying Emily may need that advice. Oh yeah, what Ron is saying. Oh, definitely. That's our we're not going to even say what she is. But guys, we're going to go ahead. JR, did you ever return? I don't know what's going on with JR, but that's okay. JR, we'll catch up with you. Oh yeah, I know he stayed with us for much longer for sure, but he maybe dozed off. He might have. I think too, there's been some weather issues over there too. We had some technical difficulties earlier, so we're gonna sign off now, guys. We're gonna say goodnight and wish you guys all the best and greatest night. And we love you. And we're gonna shimmy and shake on out of here. Everybody, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
See you next week.
Next week, yeah, we'll be back. Right, same place, same time. We'll be back next week, guys. Love you.
Love you.